Hello, everyone, and welcome to TQ's Analytics Academy, the show where I break down today's advanced metrics so that you don't have to. This is the first installment of this show, so if you like what you hear, please click the like button and also tell me in the comments what you would like to hear about on future shows. Today we're talking about run creation with two statistics, the traditional RBI and the more advanced metric WRC plus, weighted runs created plus. I thought this would be a great time to talk about RBI since Cody Bellinger has popped off for 38 RBI over the first 32 games of the season, which is absolutely insane. And Albert Pujols is currently chasing 2,000 RBI for his career, which puts him fifth on the all-time list, just ahead of Barry Bonds and just behind Alex Rodriguez. So let's start with RBI. What is RBI? First and foremost, it is a counting stat. A counting stat is just that, a stat that totals up the number of something. Examples of other counting stats: hits, walks, runs, errors, all of those things that are just totaling up the number of something. The definition of RBI is any time a plate appearance leads to a run scoring with two exceptions. It excludes any time a run scores because of an error, and also excludes any time that a run scores because of a grounding into a double play. Here's an example story that we're going to use several times throughout this episode. If Charlie Blackmon comes up and hits a double, Trevor Story comes up, hits a single, Charlie Blackmon comes in to score, and Trevor Story is granted an RBI. Pros and cons of using RBI as an offensive metric. The pros: it's accessible. All counting stats are. It's easy to understand how they are calculated, and it's easy to understand how to use them. And they're exciting. Counting stats are very exciting, especially as you're chasing bigger and bigger numbers. Albert Pujols chasing 2,000 is very exciting and has got me tuning into Angels games. And then I remember being there when Tom Glavine pitched against the Cubs for his 300th win. I didn't even really know who Tom Glavine was or what a 300th win meant, but I knew that it was very exciting and that there was an energy in the ballpark because of that, and that was very, very cool. The cons, however, far outweigh the pros when it comes to RBI because RBI is not necessarily a very good offensive metric when you're trying to suss out how good a player is. It gives credit to the batter for things that are beyond their control and things that other players have done. For instance, Trevor Story is given credit for the fact that Charlie Blackmon hit a double and was in scoring position when Trevor Story happened to have the good fortune to hit a single. Charlie Blackmon also had just objectively a better outcome for his at-bat than Trevor Story did, but somehow Trevor Story is given more credit for the run creation, when Charlie Blackmon was really the one who got into scoring position in the first place. RBI also feeds narratives about clutchness, which are just not supported by numbers. Maybe on a future episode we will talk about Fangraph's actual clutch rating, which talks about how good players are in high leverage situation, and actually came to the conclusion that most players, and overwhelmingly most players, fall into the average or slightly above or below average range, and very few players ever have been considered either very clutch or very unclutch. And so the idea of clutch is actually not very well supported by numbers, and RBI just kind of feeds into that narrative. RBI also doesn't take into account other ways that runs are created. For instance, stolen bases are not calculated into RBI. So if Charlie Blackmon had hit a single and then stolen second, he's now in scoring position, but he gets no credit for that with RBI. And in fact, gets no credit for any of his effort at all. I'm just really upset on behalf of Charlie Blackmon, who hit a beautiful double and then was upstaged by Trevor Story, who had the audacity to hit him home. That's really what I'm upset about. So let's talk then about a better metric for talking about offensive performance, WRC+. WRC+ is by far the best at-a-glance statistic that you can use to determine how good a player is on offense. So any statistic, batting average, OPS, on-base percentage, this is the king, the grand poobah of all statistics, and will tell you at a glance how good that player is. WRC Plus is a rate statistic, so it's not a counting stat. It is a result of a formulaic calculation, and it tells you how effective a player is at creating runs compared to the league average. Now, just a little quick analytic shorthand, that plus on the end of a statistic. Anytime you see that, that's shorthand for the fact that this has been adjusted to league and ballpark averages. For instance, the Colorado Rockies will have a negative adjustment because their ballpark is so hitter friendly. So that's what that little plus means on the end of WRC+. how does WRC Plus work? The formula is fairly complicated. I don't understand it entirely, but what I do know is it's based off of another statistic called WOBA, which is weighted on base average. We'll talk about that maybe in another episode, but weighted on base average basically takes into account the fact that a single is worth a certain percentage of a run, that it creates a certain likelihood that a run will score when a player hits a single. Likewise, a double is worth more than a single, not twice. Random knowledge, it's worth about 1.4 times what a single is worth. And each successive event is worth percentages of runs. Likewise, grounding into a double play is worth a negative run value, and that's all taken into account. So, all of these weights on these outcomes vary from year to year. The cool thing about that is that you can then start comparing between eras and across eras. Comparing batting average across eras isn't very fair because pitching wasn't as good. But when you're talking about how good a player is in relationship to the league, with these weights, you can really start talking about, okay, how good was Babe Ruth compared to Mike Trout? And that's a really fun conversation to be able to have. The number after the formula is scaled to 100, so that 100 is league average. It's set as the league average, 100 WRC plus. Each point above or below 100 is then 1% deviation from the average. So what you get at the end is a number like Mike Trout's 2018 league-leading WRC plus, which was 191 or 91% above league average, which is incredible. Further proof that Mike Trout is the best baseball player any of us have ever seen. On the flip side, 2018 Chris with a C Davis of the Baltimore Orioles and the recent hitless streak infamy had a 46 WRC plus or 54% below league average. Further proof that his contract extension will go down in history as one of the worst ever given to a player. Here's a little bit of WRC Plus trivia for you. The highest single season WRC Plus belongs to Barry Bonds in 2002 with 244 WRC Plus, 144% better than league average. As a matter of fact, if memory serves, Barry Bonds holds all 4 of the top spots for WRC Plus. Now, it is worth noting that 6 seasons have been 200 or more WRC Plus, but all 6 of those seasons, asterisk attached, were during the steroid era. It is worth knowing that Barry Bonds in 1992 and 1993 did have a WRC plus of 150 or greater. So that's also a really cool piece of trivia, that even before he allegedly did the steroids, Barry Bonds was very, very good at baseball. Very good at baseball. Babe Ruth is the all-time career leader in WRC plus, and I believe that number is 197. I will check that and correct it in the comments if necessary. But again, further proof that Babe Ruth was the greatest baseball player offensively of all time. That's it for RBI versus WRC plus. I'm going to end the show the same way I will every time, with my baseball crush of the week. Today, my baseball crush of the week is Noah Syndergaard and his unbelievable game today. Not only did he pitch a shutout, he also accounted for his team's only run in the game with a solo home run. The cool thing about this is that only 6 to 8 players, and I can't remember the exact number, since 1903 have ever done this. It's absolutely insane. He belongs to a very rarefied list full of pitchers I've never heard of, and I guarantee you haven't either. And it's just a really cool thing for him to have on his resume. Another cool thing about this game is before it, he shaved off the beard he'd been sporting this season. Immediately had a great game, and further proof that baseball players are superstitious creatures. He said that he is never going to pitch with a beard ever again. So that's a lot of fun. I love superstitious baseball things like that. And that is my baseball crush of the week. Thank you very much for watching. That's the end of the Analytics Academy for today. Let me know in the comments what you want to hear about in the future. What stat has got your head spinning, or what in baseball has got you scratching your head that you want to know more about. Share this with your friends. Please hit that like button, and I will see you next time for TQ's Analytics Academy. I'm Thomas Quinlivan. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.